What's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to another video. I've been touching on some very sensitive topics in a sense, especially within the black community. Like I touched on, how it was growing up to a degree without a constant male figure in your life, at least a positive one for the most part. And a person, commented on my video and was just saying, man, thank you for being honest and and sharing that experience. So it's like, you know what, I got to thinking, I was like, man, I want to draw light to this stuff. I want to bring attention to this type of stuff because a lot of this is what goes on, especially within the black communities. You know what I mean? A lot of us grow up without fathers. A lot of us grow up without positive male figures in our life. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards Charleston White. You know what I mean? Because most people focus on the bull crap, the antics, what he do sometimes. But people focus more so on what he say than what he do. Charleston White say certain things because he know that y'all are going to focus on that. The goal is to draw you in with the bull crap and then hit you with the real stuff. And for the most part, he's done that. But most people, they can't black people for the most part, whenever you call them out on what they're doing, you become an Uncle Tom or everybody, got something smart to say about you. You know what I mean? So you can't say things, you can't say problems that's wrong in the black community being a black person because everybody's going to look at you like like quote unquote, Uncle Tom. You know what I mean? So I was looking at a video. So I've been looking at it. If you go on YouTube, you got several videos where you got people coming from different state, different guys from different, I don't know where they from, but they go to different states, put it like that. They'll go to Chicago, they'll go to California, they'll go to Texas. I'm from Louisiana, they'll come to Louisiana and they'll, politic with some of the, the rappers and stuff through social media, and they'll come to the rappers, take them to their hood and show them where they grew up and stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at the conditions and I'm saying to myself, it's like, man, that's not nothing to brag about. You know what I mean? That's not nothing. When we were younger, it was cool to say, oh, I'm from the hood, or everybody wanted to be from the hood because that was what was in. The girls like the bad guys, gangster stuff, so we all wanted to. I wanted to be one at one point. I remember wearing, being in high school, putting in the gum paper to silver and putting it in my mouth and taking pictures I'm really out there doing it and that ain't nothing. I don't come from that. You know what I mean? I was around it and I was exposed to it, but I don't come from that. I didn't grow up in no hood, bitch. I'm trying to portray that because that's what was cool. You know what I mean? So when you look at the youth and you look at what's going on in the world in terms of the black community with all the violence, the murder rate is sky high. You know what I mean? You got kids killing kids nowadays. And a lot of times you want to just look at them kids and say, man, lock them up and throw away the key. You monster, this, that, and the third. But we don't take the time to empathize and understand that, bro, these conditions of which these kids come up in, it makes them be this. Because it's like this, right? So a guy asked Charleston White, and he put me onto this. He was like, do you think a kid can be saved or things like that? And Charleston White was like, man, I don't know. It all depends on the conditions. You know what I mean? Because if you take a kid and you just say you got a guy who is let's say an ex-gang member, ex-drug lord, and he go to a school and he changed his life around. He might have, found God, whether it was in prison or whether a near-death experience pushed him to that, but he there. So his whole thing is he want to get kids off of that pathway to where they ain't got to have a near-death experience. They ain't got to go to prison for the rest of their life to get closer to God. You know what I mean? It can start out here, and that's just showing y'all that this is what y'all believe in is a myth. So it's like, for some people, you say you can't believe in God because you don't believe in God because you can't see God or you can't hear God. But my thing is you believe in the streets, which is a myth. The streets is a myth. How many people actually uphold most gangsters, from the Italians to the mess, all these guys, the biggest gangsters in the world, regardless of the skin color, all of them end up snitching to get lesser time. Let's just be completely honest with you. They do. So that's what you're looking up to. So let's say if you bring a guy to come talk to the kids at these schools or at whatever, and the kids, what he's saying, it might actually resonate with you. You might actually be feeling like, man, he right. But the thing is this, sir, you come talk to us once a year, but my environment, it doesn't allow me to think the way that you think. Because if I go to my environment thinking like that, I'm going to be prey. Unless I just develop this real tough gangster exterior to the point people know that I can fight real good and I shoot that pistol, I beat you up and I kill you. You know what I mean? Then, to a certain degree, people within the neighborhood is going to leave him alone, respect him because they know what he's capable of doing and what he will do. But think about the mentality that you have to put yourself in, because it's almost like you're in character. This ain't who you really want to be, but this is what I got to be so I don't be messed with. So it's like after a while, like Charleston White always say, you get caught in character. So most of them die in character. Most of them go to jail for being in character. Now you're stuck in character. You can't get out of character now because you can't all of a sudden get to this place and now say you want to go the righteous way, because you know what I mean, you're gonna be a target, for the most part. So it's like we have to be understanding, and I understand that a lot of these kids, when they grow up and they get to like the 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4 or whatever, and they out here doing these things, and it's like, man, I want to just say, lock them up, throw away the key, but a lot of times, man, I just look and just say, man, like look at how they grew up, man. I mean, you got to take that into consideration. Look at what they was exposed to, man. They don't know what it's like. Like I grew up in a nice area, you know what I mean? But we had hood guys that would come over to our apartment complex, and man, when you seen these kids in our environment to where they didn't have no threats to worry about, they were just like us. They liked to laugh. They liked to play. They wasn't on no bullying or coming over there, let's fight, or let me take this. They was chilling because they knew that we was not a threat to them. So they look like, okay, they're not a threat to us. Why would we be a threat to them? The people that we're a threat to in our neighborhood are a threat to us, or in other neighborhoods. They're not in the hood. They're not hood dudes. So they're not governed by the same way of living that we have. So we can go over there with them and be accepted just being ourselves. If I'm interested in Dragon Ball Z, I can be that around them. If I like Disney Channel movies, I can be that with them. I ain't gotta be playing this character where I gotta watch all gangster movies, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying I don't have to play character all the time. I can be who I actually am, So it's just a lot of it comes down to really, just like I'm piggybacking off my last video I made, addressing how it was growing up without a father. Man, it's the same thing with them. But look, at least my environment, it wasn't corruption, it wasn't violence, it wasn't kill or be killed. It wasn't, go join the gang because this gang is here. It wasn't any of that. So I was able to still come out a solid individual. I had my grandfather, but in terms of like your father or your uncles, it wasn't nothing positive. So just think about them. Everything in their environment is pushing them this way. And you got one person, two people that's trying to tell them to go this way, but everybody that's telling them to go this way is telling him that, man, don't listen to him. He a lame. He a square. But just not knowing that most of the people that's telling you this and that, all the stuff that they're telling you, they don't even do. They don't even abide by it. They don't even own up or live up to. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna show y'all. Let me show y'all one of the biggest hypocrites. And I grew up loving him and idolizing. And that's Boosie. Let me tell you why. So I've heard Boosie say in the interview that when you go to jail, it's because God wants you there, right? You can't go against God's work, right? But have you noticed that the 2 times that Boosie has been in trouble here recently, he's been trying to get out, paying, lawyers and this and that. So if you go to jail and it's meant for you to be there, that's meant for you. So why are you trying to go against God's will and get out? But that's the type of mentality that they push upon you that they're not even living themselves. You see what I'm saying? And ultimately, so you gotta ask yourself this. When you look up to some of these guys, if you're a younger person watching this video, when you look up to some of these so-called tough guys, how many of them are actually tough when it's just them? How many of them are actually tough when it's 1 opposed to 5 or 6 of them? How many of them are actually tough when they ain't got a Glock switch? They got with 30, 50 round, 100 round drums when they ain't got that. How many of them are actually tough? How many of them can you sit in an environment with some of the toughest, roughest, mean men and stand out? How many? Not a lot, if any. Probably a small percentage of them. You see what I'm saying? So it's an illusion. You know what I mean? So I'm asking because I know that a lot of the youngsters, if you are watching this, I'm just asking you to question, what it is that you look up to. Question. Listen to what these people are saying in their lyrics, rapper-wise, and ask yourself, if they was really doing everything they saying, would they be free or would they even still be alive? Like, let's just be honest with you. Would they be free or they still be alive? if they actually saying this in these songs. That's all I'm asking for you. And for, you know, anybody who's in their 20s and who got kids and who feel like, okay, I wasn't ready, or man, I accidentally got the wrong girl pregnant because I was drunk or high one night and I forgot to, you know, pull out or use protection. And you be like, man, I want to push to the side. No, because you can be there and be in your kid's life and influence them to go in a different direction than they that they will go in if you're not there. You can be there to raise your kids. But if you don't, the world and their environment is going to raise them. And if the world, especially their environment, raises them, they create monsters, man. I'm just being honest, you know, just a little something to think about. But, you know, that is it for this video, man. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, click that post notification bell where you be notified every time I upload, man. 'Cause I know I've been a little inconsistent here lately, but I got to get back on trend with it, man. Just like I say on my sports channel, and just like I say on here in every outro, man. Just like the GOAT Drizzy Drake say, man. I got these videos coming back to back. I'll see y'all next video. I'm out this thing. Peace.